Well, hello. It's great to talk to you now about our return to gatherings framework. I know that we're all really looking forward to getting back to be together. We miss each other so much. Not being able to have our regular gatherings face to face has been really hard, as great as online church has been. And so I wanted to share with you now the plan for our return to gatherings and relaunching what we're doing together. And this comes from two authorities, the framework of decision making and thinking. So firstly, we have the government. We've got Scott Morrison and Gladys Berejiklian, who are giving us the roadmap for moving forward. And they've said that we began last Friday, step one, and it's a 3-step process, roadmap to a COVID-safe Australia. We also have the church, the Anglican Church of Australia, and the Archbishop of Sydney, Glenn Davies, has written to us to also give us guidelines for returning safely to our churches. That we want to make sure that we care for the most vulnerable in our community and in our fellowship, particularly the elderly, that we be good citizens and follow the government regulations. I want to encourage you to download the COVID Safe app. So how's it going to work? Well, this 3-step process we've been looking at very carefully. And we had a meeting with the leadership of both churches, of St Martin's and St Peter's, at the end of last week. The wardens, the parish council, the growth group leaders. We began to look at the issues going forward. We've been meeting as a ministry team and thinking through what we might do. And I've been working closely with the wardens. Whatever we do, whatever gatherings we begin to bring back on, need to be with the approval of the wardens and the senior minister, myself. What we're trying to do is to work under the two authorities that we've got. We've got Gladys, the government, and we've got Glenn, the Archbishop, to work through how do we do this in a way that is going to be safe for everybody in our community as much as possible. In step one, there won't be any Sunday public gatherings. We're going to continue with online services. Our plan is to continue to do them well and to encourage people to be in growth groups, in those care groups, those growth groups, and they will still meet online over Zoom as well, although they may begin, you may begin to start to organise up to 5 people to come into a home to either watch an online church, to come for the growth group, and as long as you meet the government safety requirements around those things. And we're not wasting this time in step one. We're using this time in step one as a church to really get our systems and processes in place. And there's quite a lot that's going to be involved in coming back together in terms of signage and safety around our sites, getting the hygiene right, getting stations set up so that you'll be able to wash your hands, hand sanitizers as we come into church for gatherings, and also to have in place a way of recording the names and contact details of everyone who comes in to our church or gatherings on site. That's a requirement of the government that we do that for every gathering that we have. And so we're looking to set those up in place. We also need to then set up cleaning that meets the Safe Work Australia requirements. And there's quite a lot involved with that. And because of all of those things, that's going to mean it's going to change around how we might be able to do our gatherings and all of our different groups. And so there will be some changes that we'll need to do to be able to do them and bring them back safely. And in step 2, we're still imagining that we will have online church for our Sunday gatherings. But because the government will lift our allowance to up to 20 people, we may be able to begin having our growth groups meeting on site in our halls or church, something like that. It may be possible to have a midweek service here at St Martin's. We'll be looking at that, if that will be possible. And we want to do that in a safe way and follow the guidelines from Glenn and Gladys and make sure that we do that in a way that people are comfortable with. And so we're going to be working closely with you. We're going to ask for your feedback on what you're comfortable doing and how you're happy to working with those. When we get to step 3, that's when we'll begin to look at beginning some of our Sunday gatherings, our public gatherings, but we'll be limited in our numbers. Although the maximum number is 100, The actual number allowable will be much less because we've got to work within the 4 square metre rule and the 1.5 metre distance. And that means substantially lower numbers are able to fit into our building. So at St Martin's, we think we might be able to get up to about 80 people if we do that right. In the parish hall, maybe 30 people. In the kindy hall, maybe 15. And in our youth centre, another 16. In the St Peter's Church, we think, based on square metres, we can get about 46 people, but we're not quite sure how many we can get in yet. Maybe something less than that, depending on how we arrange chairs. And downstairs hall at St Peter's, we think, based on the square metres, get about 12 people there. And so when we get to step 3, we'll be able to think through how can we effectively do some of our Sunday gatherings. Maybe we might change those. Maybe we might do something midweek. What happens with our growth groups, they can begin to start to come together, but finding space in a home that can meet the 4 square metre rule and 1.5 metres social distancing, that'll take some planning and thinking by our growth group leaders, or whether they come to use one of our church halls, or whether they stay online with the Zoom meetings. They will be some decisions that each group will have to think about making. We'll have to work hard at that, as I said, at that contact recording of people's details, and we're looking at setting up iPads with a system to be able to collect details, to look at food, safe handling of food, to look at the hygiene and all the cleaning that we will need to do. Steps 1, 2, and 3. And what we'll do is we'll update you as we begin to go into each step so that we know what the new requirements are based on what the government, Gladys, says, and what the Anglican Church, Glenn, says, so that we can bring those things together and do it in a way that is safe for our people. We thank you for your prayers. I wanted to give you some clarity on where we're going in steps 1, 2, and 3. So at this stage, just to be clear, in step 1, there are no Sunday public gatherings. Growth groups will stay online, although some may want to meet in some homes. You can have up to 5 people if we continue to do that safely, or outdoors with 10 people. We won't be getting our groups together on site until we get to step 2. We're getting things ready. We're using step 1 as a time to prepare and plan, so as soon as we get to steps 2 and 3, we've got the plans in place. We'd love to hear any feedback you've got or any questions. Please do let us know. Thank you very much.